Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. Hi, everyone. We are back on live. We think we're back on live. Yeah, after several of them, we don't know where we're at. It's the actual, no, I'm just kidding. Welcome back. I have a couple extra people today. We have Donise with us. Donise, hi. Donise is the co-founder of the Global Leadership Academy and has been in meetings this morning. So I've been taken over and I get to hand the baton over to Donise as we go into our next interview with Anna Kowalska. I told her before that we went live. It's Anna K to me. I'm like, oh, you have a different last name than that.
You have like a long last name.
Yeah, right. So we have had 3 or 4 or 5 interviews already today. We're talking about transformational leadership. We're talking about theory versus embodiment. We're talking about EQ in the workplace and what all that looks like and means. And Anna K, you been together since the beginning of this whole journey. So I'm going to hand it over to Donise to kind of start. As soon as you introduce yourself, Donise is going to take it away. But first, just tell us a little bit about who Anna is.
First, let me just say I'm excited to be here. I feel like I'm sitting in a living room with 2 amazing women that I just love dearly. And I've tuned into a few conversations throughout the day, and every single person you have in this conversation are people who are dear, I respect. I think all but 2 I actually got to hug in person, including the 2 of you. So, which is a big deal these days because we live in such a virtual world. So it's the lineup you have created for this conversation is stellar, and it's authentic and raw, and it's just such a beautiful experience on a random Monday. So what a gift.
On a random Monday. We're like, why not Monday?
With a full blue moon.
Yes.
Yeah. So, hey, it's perfect.
Yeah. So it's a full blue moon. Why wouldn't we do 13 interviews in one day?
Yeah. Why not? That's what
Why
it's about.
not? Why not? Yeah, exactly. And so.
Yeah, amazing. So who am I? My name is Anna Kowalska. Many know me as Anna K. Easier to spell. Yeah. I am a coach. I am a trainer in transformation. Labels. I have such a varied background, and the work that has held my heart the deepest is the work of transformation, is the work that we are talking about in this space, which is emotional intelligence, leadership, empowerment, and it's the space that humanity is right now. So I have a background in mysticism, so I bring some of that into the conversation, and it's gonna go places where it's going to go. And I got to this work, the work of transformation, emotional intelligence, where everything else that I was trying to use in my life to cause the shifts for what was occurring wasn't working. And finally, when I got to this work, or it found me, I found it, whatever you would like to call it, and I finally said yes to it, I began to create something different than recreating what was already occurring. So I chose to make it my lifestyle. I chose to make it my vision, mission. And I just came from being with a team in LA for a whole weekend, a team of leaders in mastery of leadership. I had another training a weekend before, another training coming up next weekend. It's now a lifestyle and a choice to constantly be in this conversation because it makes such a difference, and it's so life-filling for me. I have never been part of something that keeps on giving to me, that I keep getting filled up from, not looking for anything else, but just keep being fed and filled up and fulfilled by doing the work that I am doing, which I think is the ultimate goal for everyone in life, is to feel like their life matters. They're doing something that fills them up, and they are excited to wake up every morning. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning because I caught a 6 a.m. flight, LA time. West Coast time, and I'm in Colorado. And there wasn't even a moment that I hesitated and said, well, how am I going to be live today and still in my wits? after training, which would have been a conversation even 2 years ago. I would have been in a conversation of, there's no way I'm going to be half asleep. And that conversation no longer occurs. And the reason why I share it in this space, because a lot of people, and I was there too, we get limited in our conversation. We get limited in what we create, what we think we can create, get limited in our imagination by what we think our body can handle. And this work, the work of transformation, emotional intelligence, when I began to work through all the ways that my feelings filled up the space and you know, it made me heavy, all of a sudden, the more I keep removing all of that and freeing myself, the more I am available for the life to flow through me. And I can be up at 4 a.m. this morning, fly from LA to Colorado, come home, shower, and be here with you amazing women. And it's only 2 o'clock.
Awesome.
How's that
Capacity.
for an intro?
That's awesome.
Yes.
Like, hang up, we're done.
Oh my God. Increased capacity. Tina just said capacity. Like, no, and continuing to push those limits further and further and further out. And one of the things I heard you say too is that this is a work that you have been in that fills you up, that lights you up. What is it about the work that fills you so much?
Yeah, I'm going to give a long answer. You ready for this?
Get
We
ready.
would not expect anything different.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, Michael, our mentor, says that as a trainer, you love to talk, like you cannot shut up a trainer. So I think I became a trainer because it gives me permission to talk a lot. So my conscious journey, intentional journey in self-development, self-growth, self-discovery came from, I didn't know what would fill me up. And so I grew up in a communist country. I grew up, my formative years were during martial law, state of war in Poland behind the Iron Curtain. There was no such conversation of what will I do with my life that will make me feel fulfilled. The conversation was about survival. What do I do so I can have a good life? That was the conversation around me. Not even a good life, so I survive. How do I not get locked up for saying something? How do I not get, you know, fired because I'm associating with the people I shouldn't be associating with? Very, very like fundamentally unsafe environment. And my home life was great, but that wasn't the environment in my country. So when I came to United States, I was 16 and a half, very important, that half apparently, because I say it every time. And I created a life. By mid-20s, I had a very prosperous life. I was on a way to be married, and everything on paper checked the boxes. I had everything that a girl coming from Poland could ask for. My life was amazing. Looking from the outside, people would say, wow, what else do you want? Especially if you grow up asking for nothing, because there was nowhere for anything to come from. You are lucky if you get anything. So don't ask for what you want. And I got everything anybody could ever want, yet I was feeling empty. How can I be empty when I have everything that I see people wanting? I have it. I have the houses, I have the cars, I have the man, I have the, you know, about to get married, and, you know, sky's the limit, except I didn't know what I wanted, because everything that I thought I should have had wasn't feeling good. And I didn't have the language. I didn't have the language. I just knew that I felt unhappy. I felt empty. I felt sad. I just felt like this cannot be life. There is no way. I felt like my life was ending. And I was in my mid-20s. Now, I wasn't suicidal, but I just felt like there was nothing beyond it. This is it. So there were several situations that occurred several times in that period. I ended everything and restarted, ended and restarted, created a vision, which I thought I was like, oh, well, maybe I moved to Manhattan so I could have, you know, a different experience. So I did that and things crumbled. Maybe I'll do this. And I did that and things crumbled. I said, well, if none of it, and why it crumbled, because I wasn't happy in it. I wasn't motivated or fulfilled or inspired to keep it going. So I started to ask myself question, if all those tangibles are not fulfilling. Now, this wasn't the question. I kept asking, what gives? What gives? I mean, most people want to live in Manhattan and live the life that I was living. I was living in Manhattan. I wore my suits, you know, life was good, but it didn't feel good. So on that journey of that discovery, I started, and I was always in a question of how do I contribute? How do I contribute? Because doing something to contribute to the world was very important to me, even though I didn't understand what it meant. The job that I do, that I get paid for, was very important to me. I always knew I wasn't meant to be a stay-at-home mom. I have no children. I always knew that being a wife would be fulfilling, but not the only thing. I knew that. I knew that I was here to contribute in some way, and it was outside of being a mom and a wife. So that conversation led me through on a journey for several decades. I'm 49 now. And even when I got to this work, transformation, I didn't know this was going to be what I was going to do. I was already a coach, I was a mystic, I was a healer, and that felt good, but I was still standing in my way. I was still not feeling the fulfillment on the inside. And no matter how much I meditated, which by the way, I still do, and I am all for all the ways in which people seek connection and fulfillment, none of it was working for me. And when I got to the work of emotional intelligence and transformation in the way that we know it, because there are many ways to do it, and the way that we do it actually opened something in me. The reason why nothing was landing in my life is because I was closed off. My heart was closed off to receive it. My being wasn't connected to the experiences. And when I finally gone through the process, which GLE facilitates so beautifully, starts with level 1, level 2, level 3, and we connect emotionally to all the pain that I never felt as a little girl. I mean, I never connected to the fact that I felt pain from leaving my country, leaving people I loved, losing my grandmother at 6 and my grandfather 6 months later, and my other grandmother moving to United States when I was still in Poland. I never grieved that there was army on the streets and I grew up watching movies about war and Holocaust. I never grieved that. So I'm living a life covered up, and if I didn't want to feel that, I couldn't feel anything else. So fulfillment wasn't available for me. Joy, passion, people would look at me and say, wow, you're so passionate, but I wasn't feeling it. So it didn't occur to me that way. So I still walked around empty and seeking for something that would make me feel that way until I got to transformation. And little by little, it didn't occur. Like I told you, it didn't occur immediately. It occurred over time, because sometimes we don't pay attention. We don't ask, wow, what is occurring right now? Like we're just moving, right? So at first, when I got to transformation, I just kept digging because I knew that I wanted to live the lie. I did not want to live a life that way I was living it. Not because it was bad, not because I was, suffering terribly, because I just didn't want it. Sometimes people think that things have to get really, really bad, like, bad physically, financially, emotionally. I was not abused. Money was fine. None of it had to happen for me to not feel like I wasn't fully living my life. And at some point it shifted. And actually, even this weekend, it shifted again. My vision got bigger. So I had a conversation last week with our mentor because I felt again that I was reaching my capacity. You see, I shrunk my capacity because I was in a conversation of not wanting to feel the things. If I didn't want to feel the things and get underneath all the things that I didn't want to look at, my capacity was very small because all my space was filled by unfelt emotions, stories that were holding me back. I'm very visual. So if you visual that we are this beautiful holistic being that is limitless, yet we fill up a space. All my space was filled in with stories about if I care about too many people, it will hurt too much. Because there is so much that's happening in the world that's just hurts. So my conversation was that if I care about too many people, I would be in such an overwhelming pain. There is no way I could live a life. And how could I ever be happy if there is so much pain in the world? So I shrunk my capacity to just enough to keep moving forward. Because I knew I never not wanted to live, but I didn't want to live in a way that I would be overwhelmed by pain, because that's what happened when I was a kid. I was overwhelmed by pain and there was no way to process it. Nobody around me had capacity to say, okay, something's happening, little girl. How are you feeling? Everybody it was in their own survival story. So through transformation and in this work and many what we call catharsis, where you actually get to experience all the pain and look, and it's people are like, I don't want to feel it. Why would you not? This is the beauty of this. If I'm willing to feel this in this moment, it's not happening right now. I'm just feeling the things I never felt, then my capacity to feel everything else expands. So just last week, through coaching with my mentor, because I'm in a constant growth and evolution, I opened up another level to, oh, I'm hitting up against my capacity. And that showed up in my work. I didn't want to work with any more people. Why? Because I didn't want to care about any more people, because I care about people so much. And if I care about any more people, then I would now have to expand my capacity to feel the pain. But I no longer get overwhelmed by it because I know how to work with it through the work in emotional intelligence. My capacity expanded this last weekend. My vision got bigger and I felt that. And now I was able to receive it to a whole new level. To a whole new level. I wasn't focusing on, okay, how am I going to channel what's happening for me so I don't, get locked, feel the pain. I was able to be in situations with people as they were having their own experiences, facilitated with them, receive their love and appreciation, and that filled me up. And that's the ultimate, to me, that's the ultimate way of life, is where I can live a life where I keep receiving what I am giving, and it's a constant flow and exchange.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
how's that different from go ahead, guys.
Oh, good. I'm just like, yes, keep going, Anna. Like, and what I wanted to mention is that Anna is one of our trainers in this beautiful space of global leadership experience and works in the space of inner works and vision. And you can see and experience her passion here. And I have experienced that. And the passion on it, like, I know you feel that now. You mentioned earlier that, that you didn't feel that before. And now, because of the work that you've created and the understanding and the capacity growth and the constant, we get to the edge of our comfort zone. And then it's like, where do we go now? And we grow outside of our comfort zone so we can continue to create that stretch, that growth, and that capacity build, which is so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I wanted to say, come join us, because you get to be in the space with wonderful trainers like Anna, who is here with us today. And so thank you. And then Tina, did you have another question that you wanted to ask?
I just, it's so interesting to listen to your path, Anna, and it's like so many others, right? Like there was something that happened and you're like, okay, I get to do this. What was like the catalyst for you? So what was the catalyst that said, you know what, I get to be a trainer? This work is so important. I get to be a trainer. Like, tell us about that journey and that decision.
Wow. Decision was a process. It didn't occur to me until it occurred to me that it was such an expression of everything I asked to do in the world. When we have a vision, and call it vision, call it, you have a calling, you have a yearning, and you have a certain definition of what it will look like. I'll be a banker, I'll be an accountant, this day, whatever it is. I'm just using an example. I used to be in mortgage industry, which was never part of my vision. But when I was in the mortgage industry, I was actually the person who got to, the part that I enjoyed the most was interacting with people and asking them questions and extracting information from them was my favorite part. Making them feel comfortable in the most uncomfortable moment when they're signing, the story, you're signing your life away. That's what we say in the industry, right? When people sign for the mortgage, you're signing your life away. Oh, get out of here. It's just a paper that says you are now owning something and you get to pay back. It's not your life. Get over it.
Get over it.
But get over it. It's beautiful, it's powerful, but it's not the ultimate. It's no longer the ultimate pinnacle of a life when it used to be.
Of what success means, right? Like, I feel like there's been this one definition of success forever and a day.
Yeah.
And it's so not true. Talk about success and the different, like, why that is.
Yeah, well, the name of my business is Sacred Success, because when I got to success, that it was supposed to look like a certain way, everybody would say, wow, you're very successful. But I wasn't, because I didn't feel it. And through the journey, I realized that it was the connection inside of me. I mean, one can say connection to divinity, source, whatever you would like to call it, but it's still within me. There was a disconnect to it. So no matter what I created, I couldn't receive it. So is it successful? No. Success to me these days is when I can create something and allow myself to be in the creation, fully immersed in it, and receive in the process. And then when it occurs, when it's already created, it's like, yes, of course it happened. I was on the journey and in the process of it, and I got filled up from it so much that when I'm actually at it, like whatever, 6 figures, team of 10, it almost doesn't matter in that moment because the journey filled me up. My becoming of who I got to be to get there filled me up. So my definition of success changed completely. And the sacred, in my business, I call it sacred success, because it's that becoming and connecting to who I am in the journey was the actual meat and the juice of the success, not the goal and the meeting of the goal. And humanity is recognizing that and awakening to it in a massive numbers. People are realizing that even in the workplace, especially in the workplace, I mean, what I focus on is living on purpose and doing the work we are meant to do, because I believe that all of us are meant to contribute here in some way. And historically, we created around what will pay my bills versus what will fill me, what will feel good in the moment when I'm doing it, so I can get up at 4 a.m., get on a flight. And I'm just using it as an example because it's
a mic drop. Keep going.
To
it's
me,
a total mic drop.
To me, it's evidence for me that I am doing something that I am unreasonable in the face of, that I just facilitated for 3 days, and I'm getting on a flight at 4 a.m. and I'm getting home. And yes, when we get off, I will probably take a little nap. Probably take a little nap because I'm a human being with this body that wants to do what it wants to do. But me contributing right now is more important than anything else. And I didn't have to have coffee. I'm drinking water with lemon, hot water with lemon. I didn't need coffee because I am committed to making a difference. And people are awakening to that, even in workplaces. And I'm committed that we are awakening to it in workplaces. So we can be filled up not by a paycheck or the title, but the work we are doing, and us being in the work and us witnessing the difference that it makes for the team that we are with, and what's occurring for the people and their lives working out as part of the team that we are working with, versus somebody just getting a paycheck and schlepping home on Friday and hoping they come back on Monday and do the work. That's so yesterday. That's an old paradigm that's no longer working. It's not, and I know that's what you stand for, Tina and Denise. You know that, I know that's why you started GLE and all the beautiful spaces that you are creating within in GLE. So the family is fulfilled, and I am fulfilled in my work, and I'm happy in my health, and I'm happy in my wealth, in all the aspects of my life. And it doesn't have to look like 7 figures, 8 figures, 7 acres, 2 dogs. It doesn't have to look in any particular way, although I love dogs.
I like the 7 acres and 2 dogs. Like, I'm not opposed to that.
Great. And it's a result of, I'm just saying, great. And it's a result of a commitment to something much bigger, contribution in the world. And it's what comes back to me when I am fully immersed in my contribution in the moment that I am contributing. And that, I mean, that's what's possible when we begin to truly do the work on ourselves and emotionally get intelligent. What's really underneath that has been stopping me? What's taking up a space in me? What's the story that I've been making up? And very mentally, intellectually intelligent people, the smarter we are, the more clever we are in crafting our story in a way that covers up what it really is underneath. So everybody who is here up to big things in the world and gets to be in a work of emotional intelligence, and not just in the moment or one time. It's an ongoing process, and we get to stay in it, and because that's what the world needs through us right now.
Yes, it does. And you spoke into a few times that there is an awakening happening, and this awakening gets to happen in so many levels and so many different places, and the workplace included. And so thank you for sharing all that you shared with us today. It was so powerful and so many golden nuggets. And I am so excited to see what we get to continue to create together in this powerhouse team that is being created as part of the global leadership experience. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you.
Love and appreciate you so much.
Mwah.
Likewise.
September 11th through the 13th, Anna's training. Sign up. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're coming back in a minute. Thanks, Anna. You're amazing. Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you.
My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueutteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.